The 2020 presidential campaign heating up now. Axios is pointing out that Republicans are seizing on a new message. We are not socialists. That's what they're saying, hoping to put Democrats on the defensive. Senator Elizabeth Warren has already been forced to declare she is a capitalist. Senator Kamala Harris also distanced herself from the more liberal members of her party. Watch.
I am not a democratic socialist. I believe that what voters do want is they want to know that whoever is going to lead understands that in America today, not everyone has an equal opportunity to and access to a path to success, and that has been building up over decades, and we've got to correct course.
Power panel slides in now. Lisa Booth is a Fox News contributor, senior fellow at Independent Women's Voice. Antoine Seawright, Democratic strategist and former senior advisor to the Hillary Clinton campaign. So who's a Democratic socialist and who isn't, Antoine?
Well, I don't think we have any other than Bernie, the independent senator from Vermont who declared himself. But this is just the Republican way of trying to make America scared again. They do not have a strategy. They do not have a policy agenda that they can point to under this administration. So now it's just sound the alarm bell scare tactic for 2020. But it won't work. It didn't work in 2018 in the midterms, and it will not work now.
Real quickly, Lisa, before I come to you, Laura Trump on socialism. Watch.
What I think people need to realize when we're talking about socialism, it is essentially the government taking over, as you're explaining, almost every aspect of your life. And in America, that is not right. That is not who we are as a country. That's not what our country was founded on. These things are becoming incredibly mainstream within the Democrat Party, and it's going to be very hard for people to distance themselves from these come the 2020 election.
Laura Trump, a big voice in 2016 on the campaign, and looking forward to 2020. Lisa?
Well, and we saw President Trump lay the groundwork for this in Miami, where he was talking about Venezuela, once rich country and now in destitute, a country that nationalized its oil industry, banks, and look what happened. Now they're rationing off food. 350,000 people are potentially at risk of dying due to inadequate health care. So President Trump started laying that groundwork and showing the contrast. But I will warn Republicans that we need to be careful, because when you talk about things like single payer, they are popular until people find out what it means for them. When they find out what it means, the lack of quality care, increased taxes. So Republicans have to take it a step further and explain to Americans why that is bad for the country and why it'll hurt and impact them and their families.
The National Republican Senatorial Committee reportedly raised a record amount of cash, $5.6 million in January. So you've got that going on. But you mentioned Bernie Sanders, Antoine. He actually raised more than that in 24 hours. Many of the donations, $27. He is a Democratic socialist. What do you do with him?
Well, he's an independent senator running under the Democratic umbrella for president.
He was Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez's boss.
Again, the independent senator is running under the Democratic hat for president as of now. I think there's some discussion at the DNC level about whether he can do that because of our recent party rules that
you
changed
would kick out Bernie Sanders, Lisa?
Harris, Democrats can't make the argument that Bernie Sanders is outside of the mainstream of the Democratic Party. You look at our own Fox News poll, 43% of Democrats have a positive viewpoint of socialism. Gallup found last year that more Democrats have a positive viewpoint of socialism than they do capitalism. So Democrats cannot make the argument. He is the mainstream Democratic Party right now. So when President Trump laid that groundwork and talking, look at the polling, Antoine. So when President Trump laid the groundwork between freedom or a socialist
why not? Why won't Bernie make it?
Ruling class.
Well, because, look, if you look at states like South Carolina, who would decide our nominee, 60% of the people who cast their vote will be African-American. Bernie's math problem is the same as it was in 16. African-Americans do not seem to connect the dots with him. So let's not make this mistake. I know the right wants to use Bernie Sanders as an example because they do not have the winning.
I got to go. Thank you both. I'll be back in a moment.
Thank you.